So let's shift gears a little bit. We see that it's something that employers should take advantage of. They oftentimes don't. It's cumbersome. There are some folks out there that are doing some of this processing for employers. But let's talk about how we, PeopleMatter and TaxBreak, elevated it to the next level by really building an integrated solution that is unlike anything else that's been out there before.
Well, you can find tax credit screening from the applicant side out there. It does exist, and it has been going on for some time now. But what we've done is we've taken it to another level. We're actually, turning this platform into a processing system. We're able to give real-time results back to the employers of the status of a tax credit, the amount of credits that have been earned on the employee, and even, as we'll see in a little bit, a to-do list of things that have to be accomplished in order to take advantage of the tax credit on the employee.
This is real time.
This is real-time information. This doesn't exist. The employers are seeing the same data that we're seeing in order to try to get the tax credit processed.
Wow. It is an awesome, awesome system that you guys have worked on and built. Final thing I want to talk about before we go over and show the audience a little bit of this magic is the social responsibility aspect. You and I have talked a lot about this, and it's something that we both feel very important, feel very passionate about, which is how will this system further that thinking of really getting people back to work?
Well, the tax program itself, and especially identifying these opportunities on the applicant side, it really tears down some barriers that a lot of these applicants would have to get employment. Big categories of these tax credits are people who've been through disability, or who've received disability, vocational rehab, our veterans that are coming home. These are tax credits for these employers, and for us to identify these things in the front end, we're encouraging the employers to hire these people. Absolutely. And typically that might be a little bit more of a difficult process without that.
Wow. Well, let's go take a look real quick.
Sure.
We'll show the audience real quick this awesome system. We're going to bring Charles back out here. Charles, good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Nate.
And we're actually going to show you guys some of the magic that we've built here. And again, this is the second big component of our PeopleMatter Hire module, which is the tax credit processing system. So right off the bat, Charles, you can help me here a little bit. We can see that now the tax credit eligibility icon has appeared, correct? So we've added those screens, those modules right in the system.
That's a configurable element of the job application setup. Here we've turned it on so it appears here, and the questions automatically appear as part of the workflow.
And so, Shannon, tell us for the audience, what are we getting ready to do right now?
We're getting ready to pre-qualify a candidate for tax credits, and what we call that is a quick check process. We're going to ask them a series of questions. It's under 10 questions, and we're going to use this data in real time to identify for the employer whether or not that person would qualify.
And this is a process, again, just to orient you all at home and here in the audience. This would be Nate back on the iPad. If I was normally doing this, we're back as a candidate. We just kind of broke it up for purposes of today into the 4 components here. But normally, if the tax credit was turned on, the tax credit eligibility module here, you would just go right on through this as we went through the application process earlier.
Right. Absolutely.
You mentioned that quick check process. That's a process you guys are currently patenting. You've developed. It's very unique and allows for a tremendous amount of automation.
It does, and it cuts down on the paperwork. That's one loss factor here. Traditionally, this program has been very paper intensive. Employers don't even try to qualify tax credit candidates until after they're employed. And they're having every one of their employees come in and fill out paperwork, whether or not they're a tax credit. And when 20% are qualifying, it's easy math. That means 80% aren't. So you're doing 80% of the paperwork for no reason.
Right in here.
And we're taking that off the table by asking these questions as we run through them.
Nice.
So Charles, you want to get started here real quick?
Let's go.
So Shannon, as we go through these screens, again in the quick chat here, we're going to see a various set of questions. Talk to us a little about these questions and why you're asking them.
We're asking them based on factors that the IRS has given us to determine whether or not someone's eligible for a credit. And I know the question is, and we get this question a lot, are these questions legal to ask in the applicant process? Because there are very personal questions. And the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
For a couple reasons. One is, on the tax form itself, it actually encourages the person. It says you must fill these questions out on or before the hire date.
Because there's a lot of time-sensitive pieces here to getting the tax
credits. Some of the biggest categories of these credits that have a 28-day window.
So there's a lot of credits that are lost without that automation if you're doing it in a paper world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then another factor here is this is completely voluntary.
Okay.
As Charles is running through this process, if he does not want to answer these questions, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
He can just keep clicking next, no, yes, or no, and we'll actually identify that in the back end when we're going to look here in a second and let the employer know that this person did not answer the questions. So if you do hire them anyway, once they had a job, we maybe can go back and try to re-ask those questions again.
Because you can do a look back, you can do a retroactive.
Well, we can still ask those questions the day they're hired and the day they come on board. And so if we know they opted out of the system and we don't have an answer, we'll ask them the day they get hired.
One of the things, Shannon, I wanted you to point out real quick is how that we've integrated this into the actual PeopleMatter application. It's not a separate web form, or we're not single signing out to a third-party application. We've actually embedded the questions and all this technology right into the application.
That's correct. It's part of the application process, and you're getting a real-time answer from us.
Yep.
You're hitting our servers, and we're giving you a real-time eligibility answer on this employee as soon as we submit it.
So we have come to the last question there about Native American tribe member, and then we would then hit submit, and we would transmit those questions real-time back to your office there in Alabama for the eligibility and the processing of the credit.
That's correct. And we'd give you the answer back in real time.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears within the tax credit processing application. We were doing it as a candidate. We were answering those questions. And now Charles is going to bring up the human resources side of the application, or the hiring manager, and actually see the answers and actually go through the module there. Charles?
Yeah. Well, first thing that you'll see here is that we can now see that we have applicants who have pre-qualified for tax
Right
credits.
here, they've actually pre-qualified.
Here's one who didn't fill in the questions and just skipped over them, so they're just labeled as ineligible for now.
And then also, I would just point out one thing, Charles, that a little bit higher there, buddy, up at the top, that the module has now appeared up here as well.
That's
the tax
right.
credit icon, because that module has now been enabled.
Once that switches on, then you get that tab there.
Okay.
We'll look at that in a moment.
And then there's the ability to search your candidates for the tax credit eligibility, and Charles can demonstrate that here. And that's something that's very unique.
So using the same type of search methodology we were showing earlier.
That same type of search. So if I'm just looking for tax credit candidates or servers that are tax credit candidates, I can easily perform this search in here.
Were you as amazed about that as I was when you saw that thing? Because I know you love technology as much as I do.
I didn't think it was real.
I didn't either until I saw it. Ken and Charles and their team literally came up with this in the last couple of weeks, and they've modeled it after the Google Instant Search, and it really is pioneering.
Absolutely.
So let's say you're looking for a server who's actually qualified for tax credits. You could type qualified, server.
There you go, Chris. I'm going to hire Chris.
We got Chris appears right there. We
Chris looks like a good guy.
He is pre-qualified. So, and you could enter a phone number. You could enter a variety of different data points that would be in that profile.
You could say pre-qualified and a zip code, for example.
Pre-qualified with the zip code, and it would pull up all those people as well.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, Charles.
So now let's now take a look at people who have actually been hired and are going through the tax credit process.
Okay.
It can take up to 2 years for someone to qualify for all of the tax credits. So
over time, as they earn them over time.
And we help the HR manager stay on top of all of the tasks.
So that's a great point. While he's pulling that up, Shannon, talk to the audience and us about there's a ton of different tax credits that people are eligible for. There's work opportunity, there's hire credits, there's zone credits, there's all these different credits. How do you guys stay abreast with everything that you guys have there in the process?
Well, it's what we do for a living. There's federal credits, there's state credits, there's all different types of opportunities. You know, what we're specifically looking at here are the higher credits, the eligible credits for people who are coming on board. So you've got the work opportunity tax credit, which is basically a demographic type credit. You've got zone credits, which are geographic, where the employee lives and works. And of course, you've got the hire credit, which is a little bit different. It is a payroll credit. But we look through the eligible candidates, and if the employer decides they want to choose that and process that particular credit, we'll do it for them.
Awesome.
Take a look
and this is where it gets really, really unique. This is where we're talking about the integration to a whole new level.
So this is where we're actually, that was just that little, when the dial was spinning there, that was actually a live call through an API, a proprietary API that we've built with TaxBreak, actually right into their system in Alabama.
That's correct. This is real-time, up-to-date information on this particular employee, the status of the credit, and the credits that they've earned, and we'll kind of go through this here step by step.
So yeah, let's walk through Matt Walker here that we're looking at on the screen here. So we see that he's certified. What does that mean?
Certified means that we've received an actual certificate back from the state organization that he works in that says, this person did qualify for a tax credit based on the criteria and the questions that were answered through the process.
So this gentleman earned the business $812 in tax credits over here.
Absolutely, and he's not closed out yet.
He's still earning credits.
No, he's still earning credits, and you'll see that below here. And if it were for an employer who's looking through this, if for some reason he did max out or we closed him out, it would say closed there, so they would know we've maxed out this particular employee.
So this is the credit that he's actually earning here, which is the work opportunity tax credit.
That's the credit he's qualified for, and that's the maximum amount of the credit that he can qualify for. So once
you can see this is real money for the operators, and it's able to be managed and measured here real time with your system with a ton of reports, where historically it's done either through paper, it's done through an IVR process, credits are missed, or it's done potentially through a quasi-web form application, fill out a PDF online, send it in, but you don't get this level of information or integration here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can see in real time how close he is to maxing out the credit. So if it's an employee that maybe I'm not working enough, or, in a temp situation, and he is a tax credit and I want to earn more credits, I can give him more hours and earn that, because it's based on the wages that the employee earns.
Charles?
And also, we have a messaging system here so that the hiring manager can communicate with the tax credit center. So, for example, they might say,
right here, we're going to go in and actually key in some information.
Exactly. They might say, October payroll submitted.
And this is unique because we need to track with that 28-day window. We need
got a lot
to track
of time
when those forms are sent out to us. So this gives us the ability as the processor, acting on a consulting role, to try to get these forms in to get the most amount of tax credits possible for the client. As you can see in that second note, it tells us that the forms were mailed that day.
Yep.
So we know they're in the mail, and we know when to expect them.
You can see a historical trend of all of those different points here. It's all time and date stamped.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. In this particular, in Matt's case, there are no to-dos because we've already qualified and certified him for a tax credit. So we don't have anything else to do. We're just sitting back and earning a credit.
But if we go to Melissa, we can actually see that.
So we're going to pull up another candidate here. Melissa Evans, again, real-time into tax break systems. So this is another view of another individual in this organization. She's in a different category of tax credits here. And so tell us what's going on here, Shannon.
Melissa's pending. What that means is we've sent the information to the state, and we're waiting on the state to send us that certificate back. And until we get that certificate and know that she's qualified, we cannot start earning tax credits on her.
At that point
so that's why she has a $0 amount there.
Yeah. So then we have these two tax credits. These are the two that she's eligible for, correct?
Right. That's the two that she's eligible for, and of course the maximum amounts again that are associated with those.
So if you were doing it in again a other system or a paper-based world, you would not know, because you would not know what she's actually eligible or what she's actually earning over time.
No, you wouldn't. It would be, it's traditionally a very report-oriented, traditional tax credit processors would usually submit reports that are this thick, and you're having to flip through them and find out who's qualified and how much you've earned.
Qualified, who's
this is real-time information. You know it, it's there, you can break it down by particular employee, which is really neat, which is very unique.
So what's going on down here on this to-do list now? We see some to-dos here, Shannon. What is actually happening down here?
These are the things that need to be accomplished by the employer in order for us to finish the tax credit process. So what this does here, and this is very, very unique, typically our customer service team would be tracking this information down. Okay. If we needed to know the branch of military service, we would have to pick up the phone, call the employer, ask, can you track Melissa down and find this information out for us? But that's right here, real time.
So it's prompting the HR manager, the hiring manager, or somebody in the payroll department, whoever is managing this process. Again, it's a role-based system.
Absolutely.
PeopleMatter, all PeopleMatter modules are role-based, so it depends on whoever the role is. We set up the roles and the configurations and the setup process. That individual would see that information and actually be prompted to key this information in as you're doing right now.
Right.
When this is submitted, it gets pushed right onto the tax credit processing person's admin's dashboard in Alabama for them to deal with that.
This information comes directly to us. It populates our system, and we can start getting that to-do list finished and start processing.
So we'd go ahead and submit that information, and it would go over to you
guys. Right,
absolutely.
Absolutely. And then it would come off the to-do list.
Great. Awesome. Very, very cool system. A lot of really, really neat factors. It really can show.
This is cool stuff.
This is very, very cool stuff. And you can really see the value of how it can help an operator that is out there trying to manage these processes there.
Absolutely. Find more cash for them.
Find more cash for them. Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much. It has been awesome.
Appreciate it.
It is really, really neat to see what you guys have done.
Pleasure to be here.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
That's something that's really, really neat. It's real money. It's real money that oftentimes is left on the table by operators out there. Typically, where you do see the tax credits, as Shannon was mentioning, is in a lot of hourly workforces. Typically with a lot of high turnover, which is where our system is really suited best for. And again, I can't overstate enough the level of integration that we've done with TaxBreak, the automation we provide, and how easy it will be for the operators to earn those credits there.